I don't know what it is, but a lot of budget brands have been reaching out to me, including one called 5-Core. In fact, they sent me this 40-watt amp to film and demo, and that's exactly what I'm going to do today. Whether you get it from their website directly or Amazon, this amp is priced around $90 or so. But is this thing even worth $100? Let's just find out. Welcome to Get Offset. My name is Emily and you look really nice today. This is the GA40 by 5-Core, also known as the 5-Core Mini Guitar Amp Orange 40-watt portable electric bass amplifier with 8-inch 4-ohm speaker with EQ control. Oh man, those titles are out of control. As you might have guessed, 5-Core sent me this amp to demo, and they have said they're going to pay me my demo fee. Thoughts and opinions are all mine. Confusingly, this is legitimately referred to as a guitar amp and a bass amp. And by the way, if you're thinking to yourself, gee, that looks familiar, you've probably seen one of several extremely similar looking amps on Amazon. It's billed as portable and it's very portable. It's definitely lightweight. The build quality as a whole feels robust-ish, I would say. The power cable is really short and physically attached, so you can't just get a longer IEC cable if you need, but that's what extension cords are for. And at least it's a 3-prong, so it's grounded. The controls are interesting, and we're gonna go through them because I know you can't really see them. First off, we have passive and active inputs. I don't see these a lot, at least on guitar amps, but from my understanding, an active input has a resistor on it, and it's a little quieter as a result. So from how I understand it, you should be able to turn up the gain more without the volume going up too much. I don't know about that, but we'll try it out. From there, we have gain, and it says boost, a boost button here. This doesn't work if the boost button isn't engaged. It doesn't seem to do anything, I mean. And when the boost button is engaged, you don't get any volume unless you turn that up. So that's cool. Then we have the 3-band EQ that they talk about a lot. This one is especially interesting because if they're all turned down, which they are now, you get no sound, but you can turn one up and it's interesting. It's weird because normally you see an EQ and turning it all the way down doesn't completely cut that band frequency entirely. It just kind of dulls it. So it's an interesting choice for sure. From there we have time and repeat. Yes, this has a delay circuit, no reverb, but delay. It's a digital delay. We'll see how long it gets. Yeah. Then there's volume for the guitar and a vocal input. The mic inputs, it works if you have an XLR to 1/4-inch cable. I would prefer to see an XLR input there just because it's, well, a more normal thing to have. That kind of positions it with the busking amps. I'm not sure I'd use this for busking when there's so many battery powered options out there that have actual XLR inputs. What this likely is good for is used as a practice amp. Something to have at the house, something to have at rehearsals, maybe something to use in a pinch, but let's hear it before we make those determinations. I'm using my Fender Player 2 Telecaster. Links to this, affiliate links to this in the video description, as well as the amp. So again, when the volume is up. Just first things first, I did already get my levels. The tone control is down though, so let's start to turn that up. I recommend starting with bass. And I would turn the bass up all the way. And this is about as warm as the tone gets. Before I do anything else, I am gonna add some of the delay just to give some sort of sense of space. I'm not gonna play this with pedals. I'm sure it's a fine pedal platform. I don't know how it would take distortion, but we'll figure that one. We'll figure some other things out. No mix control. This is kind of like a Les Paul, sort of. slap back, so I'm going to go with it. Now I'm going to kind of bleed in some mids and treble very slowly. Do you want to hear the treble all the way up? I don't know who that's for, it's not for me. It's definitely something that you could use to some sort of effect. I think that one could have a lot of fun with this in the studio as a secondary or tertiary amp, but... a little treble goes a long way. I still don't love what I've dialed in, but I think it's close to something that's usable. Turn the bass up all the way, bleed in a little bit of treble and mids to your ear. Again, not warm, but spanky. It's so spanky. It really has that kind of pop to it. Punch, perhaps. Let's try the bridge pickup. Keep in mind this bridge is not as bright as a normal bridge. Watch my demo on this guitar to get a full rundown on it. Yeah, so this amp is interesting, and I mean that in an aggressively Midwestern way. If you spend the time to dial in the EQ, you can get some good sounds, but yeah, interesting. Let's turn on the boost/gain. So I hit this button here. Oh! That's all the way up. Let's turn it all the way down. Again, nothing, even though before we had stuff. And you know what? Let me boost off. You can see that that knob does nothing. Rather, you can hear that it does nothing. So it's quiet. That's just with a little bit. I kind of like it here. It kind of feels like it has some sort of like a clean blend thing. We gotta crank it though. Disregarding the tone, it's quieter than the clean channel, which bothers me. I think that when you hit the gain, everything should get louder. It's very broken speaker-esque, and I anticipate that some people will like its overall character. It really sounds like someone really slammed a pencil in the speaker cone. So maybe you like it. Me, not so much. But how about this? Changing none of the settings. Let's hear it in the active. So here it is, active. I feel like I'm getting a little bit more clean there. And middle position. That bridge pickup really does drive the whole thing. Kind of makes me wonder how this would sound with humbuckers. Overall, I think I like the active sound better. Whether or not that's actually different, I don't know. All right. What next? I want to try it on bass because I actually think it sounds better on bass, especially the boost channel. So let's go ahead and get that set up. All right, I am back in the standard channel. See? Punchy. And that is exactly the same settings as before. Let's turn the gain down and then turn on the boost and bleed it in some. I think it sounds really cool, but obviously we have to crank it. I realized I forgot to show you how the delay maxes out, how that sounds. So I keep accidentally going for that volume knob. Okay, I've heard enough. I've heard enough. You can find this amp on Amazon, affiliate link in the video description. In my mind, I don't think it's helpful to compare this to my other quote unquote real amps or even my modelers or the Pod Express or the Mustang Micro. I'm comparing this to like the Fender Champion and Frontman amps that so many of us learned on. It has more features and wattage than the similarly priced Frontman 10G, so it seems like a deal compared to that. When you start talking about the Champion amps, they're like $230. Like the Champion 40 is $230. Over twice the price, but it's also 40 watts. Listen, I like those Champ amps. I've gigged with them, but they are more expensive, although they do come with a wider array of effects. That being said, you're losing the mic input, but you're not losing some of the other features. You're gaining like a chorus and reverb kinds of things, the ability to use a foot switch with it. So this sits somewhere in the middle of those two things. Features wise, when you look at it on paper, it's a price performer. I don't really understand why it has delay instead of reverb, but oh well. The TLDR is, I think this is okay if you're patient and know how to dial in an amp. But what bothers me is this is geared towards beginners, and even I have really struggled to find sounds that I like in it when I'm using guitar with it. Bass, I think it's a good bass amp. But for guitar, I find it to be really, really ice picky if the treble is even a little bit too high. And I don't think the speaker is 8 inches, by the way. I can feel the start and end of it, like there to there. I think my palm across is around 6 inches, but I might go in there and see if I can confirm or not. But I don't know. If you care, then you care. If you don't, then I don't know why you're looking at demos of amps at all. So I know the amp is upside down, by the way, but my concern with the speaker size is that the hole here, that's very much more like 6 inches. I mean, literally, it starts over there and it stops over there. Yeah, that's 8 inches. But we can now see inside of this amp pretty well. Obviously, it's just a little PCB. I mean, it's a digital amp. We do know this for a fact. Those are the two inputs. That's the gain right there. That's the button for it. And then we have the tone stack right there. I believe those are like aux in and headphone out. That I think is the line out. And that is the microphone in and microphone volume, main volume, and other stuff. Fascinating. By the way, this back was a pain in the ass to get off, but I did it. But again, this amp from 5-Core, it's not positioned to replace even your Champion 40, and personally, I wouldn't gig with it. But if you look through the lens of affordability and decent cleans with some EQing on guitar and generally like a pretty okay little bass amp with a surprisingly small speaker, you may be happy with it. Hell, you may even embrace the chaos and find that you love the gain sound. Again, I can totally imagine people digging that. I'm just not one of those people. If you liked this video, please check out the video on the screen where I introduced the Fender Player 2 Telecaster that you saw in the first half of this video. If you'd like other ways to support the channel, you can like, comment, subscribe, support us on Patreon, use the affiliate links, click on all the links in the video description. But that's just if you want to. Anyway, thanks for watching, thanks for understanding. Until next time, my name is Emily. Goodbye.